Why are those 3 rules all you need? Because this is critical. I want you to pay close attention to what I'm fixing to say. Everybody you meet asks 3 questions. The 3 questions everybody asks subconsciously. Question number 1, can I trust you? Ladies and gentlemen, without trust, there can be no relationship. That patient's got to be able to trust you in your office. My wife and I have been married because I can trust her, she can trust me. I would never lose the trust of my wife. Now, how do we always get people to trust you? Just do what's right. That's why it's important to do what's right, because if you do what's right, you will always gain the trust of the people you're dealing with. You cannot have a relationship with people if it's not based on trust. In South Carolina, that first year, after we went 0-11, it was about June 5th the following year, I found out at 5 o'clock the 2 players from the previous year's team were arrested that afternoon for selling drugs. They were not on the team, but they were on last year's team. Had the whole team in summer school. I said, they ate dinner at 6 o'clock. I said, I want a team meeting at 7. You know why I was so mad? I was so mad I'd been with them 18 months, they still didn't trust me to tell me that was going on. I said, you knew it. Why didn't you trust me? Look at the embarrassment this university and this program is going to have in tomorrow morning's paper because you didn't trust me enough. I don't care if you like me. Nobody said anything. Everybody had an assigned seat. Seniors in the front, freshmen in the back. I'm looking at the seniors. Nobody says a word. Then Jonathan Barton, the sophomore, got up. I'll never forget. He said, Coach, I trust you. Looked around the room, said, a lot of my teammates I don't trust. You lie, you cheat, you steal, you do drugs. You don't work hard, you don't care about the team. And Andre Goodman was a junior. He played 11 years with the Denver Broncos as well as other teams. He gets up. He said, I agree. He said, I go shower, I got to lock my locker or you'll pilfer it. The problem, ladies and gentlemen, they didn't trust one another. Why? Because they knew there were too many people on that team weren't doing the right thing. I wasn't ready for that. But I asked the manager to give them all a sheet of paper. And I said, I want you to write down everything you've done that's wrong. It's going to be confidential. But I want it to give some thought. And come back tomorrow at 2 o'clock when summer school ends. They came back at 2 o'clock with their paper. I said, follow me. We went out to South Carolina's practice field. Now, South Carolina had tradition every time they won a big game on the road, they built a little tombstone, the date, the name, the score of the opponent. Wasn't a very big graveyard, there just a couple of them there. That morning I had a tombstone delivered this big blank. We dug a hole, put every one of those papers in, burned them, covered up with dirt, put the tombstone back. And that day we made a commitment to each other. If we had a teammate we could not trust, a teammate that didn't do what was right, a teammate that didn't do the best he could, or a teammate that didn't care, they would come to me. 6 months later, second greatest turnaround in the history of NCAA football. And I swear to gosh, it started that day when they learned how important it was to have trust with other people. The second question everybody asks, are you committed to excellence? Oh, you can have all the slogans you want. First will be best, then will be first. You send a message with your committed to excellence by the standards you have. I'm at Notre Dame. We're enjoying great success. About my 6th year there. We're ahead of Stanford 16-0, and we get beat. A game we should have never lost. I was devastated. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. You know why I came to the conclusion we lost that game? Because I had some senior players that have done so good for so long, you just take for granted they'll do right. But they don't. And I went to them on Monday, I said, That's my fault, not yours. I let you get away with less than the best you're capable of doing. It ain't going to happen again. If I murder tonight, the police won't even investigate it because all of you will be a suspect, but I don't care. My obligation as leader, and I learned this from Woody Hayes, is to make you the very best I can. Not to be your friend, not to be your companion. My obligation is to believe in how good you can be. Most of us don't realize the talent and the ability we have. We had a very physical practice. We had an All-American guard, Aaron Taylor, who was injured. In its place was second-string left guard. Didn't take very long into practice to realize the second-string left guard was just going through the motions. I stopped practice. I said to the left guard, "What gives you the right to cause your teammates to fail?" The other 10 guys were playing their heart out with nothing to show for it. They hem and hawed, didn't give an explanation. I said, "Go over, stand on the sideline and think about it. That's bad." Third string left guard jumped in the huddle. I said, "No. I hadn't planned this, but I was bad." I said, "We're going to play without a left guard." We broke the huddle. We don't have a left guard. And players said, "What do we do?" I said, "Act like we have one." Rick Meyer takes the ball, gives the ball to Reggie Brooks, our tailback. Oliver Gibson comes through the vacant spot. Hits Reggie Brooks as soon as he gets the ball. Tremendous thud. Moment of silence. Reggie started to moan he couldn't see. Scares you. Turned his helmet around. He was fine and came back to the huddle. Ran another play, same result. After the third play, I had open rebellion. I said, "What's wrong?" "What's wrong? We don't have a left guard." I said, "When did you notice?" He looked at me. I said, "We haven't had one all day. I'm tired of pretenders. I'm tired of imposters. I'm tired of impersonators." I said, "We played last Saturday with 8 players and 3 imposters. I'd rather played with 8. Oh, I know, we would have lost. Everybody would have said, 'Wow, if we had 11 like them, nobody would beat us.' We never lost again for our next 17 straight games. Our last 5 games that year, we played 5 nationally ranked teams. Our average margin of victory was 14 points. See, ladies and gentlemen, we have obligations, responsibilities to fulfill our role to the best of our ability. The last question everybody asks, do you care about me? Do you genuinely care about me? Those 3 questions that everybody asks are always answered if you follow the 3 rules. As I said, there isn't anything complicated about it. I fool around with magic a little bit. I'd like to do a simple little trick for you. Just like any other newspaper, you have front page for people who want to read the news. You have the comics for people who can't read. And we have the editorial page for people who can't think. But it's like anything else. But here's what I want you to do for me. I want you to take 2 people. I want you to take one person you love, admire, and respect. Then I want you to take somebody you got a problem with. It can be anybody in this world. Put these 3 questions on both people. Simple yes or no. Can you trust them? Yes or no. Are they committed to excellence? Yes or no. I used to do this with a phone book when I was younger, but are they committed to excellence? Yes or no. They care about you and the organization, yes or no. I guarantee you, the person you admire and respect, you just said yes to all 3 questions. The person you got a problem with, you pinpointed the problem. Either you can't trust them, they aren't committed, they don't care. Now, somebody said, "How do you do that?" Perfectly, I thought. But in any event, I wake up middle of the night screaming because I can't figure it out. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's basically that simple. And what we do and how we do it. Now, why does everybody honor those 3 rules? No. My children would violate them, players would, but here's how I handled it. When somebody violated those 3 rules, I call them in. "Skip, I don't believe you're doing the best you can in Spanish 2. Here's why. Got an A in Spanish 1, you're getting a D in Spanish 2. Missed class 3 times, study all twice, tutor once. I don't believe that's the best you can do, and I want to know why." I did not attack the performer, but I did attack the performance. See, ladies and gentlemen, it's a big difference. Never attack the performer, but attack the performance. By having those three rules, and everybody understand, that was our core values. But that is what held us together. When I talk about a success, game plan for success, those three rules. Do the right thing, do the best you can, show people you care. Because then everybody's going to say, I can trust that person, I know they're committed to excellence, and I know they care about me. That's how simple I have tried to live my life, and whether it be with my family, coaching, TV, etc. Now, when I stood up here, I knew 10% of you wouldn't remember 10% what I said, 10 minutes after I said it. But I guess for about the last 58 minutes, I've given you your most prized possession. That's your time. And I didn't preach to you, lecture you, and the stories I shared with you are true. And this principle is what we try to follow. There's a statue of me at Notre Dame. I guess they need a place for the pigeons to land. I don't know. But if you go there, don't look at the statue, look at the pedestal. There's three words on that pedestal: trust, commitment, love. I didn't put them there. The players of Notre Dame put them there because that's what we believed and what we preached. Now, we're going to have a question and answer period, which I love to do, but I'll tell you why I usually don't. People don't ask questions. They say, I don't want to ask that question. That's a dumb, stupid question. There's no such thing as a dumb, stupid question. Whatever question you have, I love to answer. I love to expound upon it. How are we set up to do this question and answer? Who has a question? That's what I say. Nobody ever asks a question. Question is, other than Woody Hayes, who else been an influence in my life? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to apologize. That's a dumb, stupid question. Nah. It didn't matter what the question. You always say that breaks it up. Woody Hayes was a great influence on my life. A guy named Rick Frisano, who was an assistant coach at Kent State when he believed in me, saw something in me about coaching, encouraged me, but it's my wife. My wife is by far the most important example of it. I have learned from other people. I try to observe. I'm not very original, but I observe it. Like, how do I come up with those three rules? I leave Ohio State, national champs. I go to William Mary's head coach. I'm going to be the greatest coach in the world, but the problem is we had more Marys than we had Williams. And the year was a disaster. And I sat down, and I comprised a list of successful people and the people that screwed everything up. What was the difference? Age, no difference. Sex, no difference, male, female. Intelligence, no difference. I only found three differences. The person that succeeded, you could trust him. This person over here, this group, no. This group was committed to excellence. This group just cut corners. This group cared. The other. I try to observe people. And so I've learned from so many different people and so many different experiences. But I also believe this, that lower the problem to the simplest common denominator. I can't solve complicated problems, but keep it simple. I'm at Ohio State. I'll embellish this a little bit, but we're going to play Southern Cal for the national championship. They have a back named O.J. Simpson. I coach the defensive back. Coach Hayes and I got an argument about the best way to defend O.J. Coach Hayes said he better not score a touchdown. January 1, 1969, second quarter, O.J. takes the handoff, goes 80 yards for a touchdown. I'm up in the press box, Woody Hayes on the sideline. I walk in the locker room at halftime, first thing transpired, Woody Hayes, a man of my love and respect, came right up to me, strategically placed his left hand on my jugular vein, and squeezed my eyes, got about that big. Now, you have to understand, Coach Hayes, he meant me no physical harm. He wanted to be sure he had my undivided attention. He said, why'd O.J. go 80 yards? I said, Coach, that's all he needed. You know, both on the night then, I got enough. You know, keep life simple. But I've learned, why does this happen? Why that not happen? That's simple. Great question. Yes, sir. Great question. I left Notre Dame. If I would stay there, how would I find new goals? We're on top. We should have set goals and standards nobody thought was humanly possible. We already owned the longest winning streak, etc. I tell you what, we won the national championship in '88. We got screwed in '89 or '93. I don't care which way you turn. But I'm not bitter. No. But the reason was because the NBC contract, there was a backlash on it. But what we should have done is never, are we the very best? Let's set standards like Alabama's doing right now. And this is a problem Nick Saban has. Here's what happens when you have success. When you win, you can't enjoy it. Losing's a disaster in coaching. That's a problem that Mac Brown fights. Urban Meyer's fighting. Nick Saban's fighting. I fought. But I wasn't smart enough to figure that out. That let's just keep raising the bar, keep raising the standard. What goal? We lost goals. Other than let's maintain where we are. Now let me tell you what happens. I go to Notre Dame. Miami beating them 58-6 the game before I got there. The alum said, Coach, all we want to do is be competitive. Well, my first year at Notre Dame, we lost 5 games by a total of 14 points to teams that finished the top 15 in the country. I thought that was rather competitive. The alum said, no, you don't understand. Competitive us at Notre Dame means to win, not come close. My second year, we won enough to go to the Cotton Bowl. The alum said, when we said win, we meant win them all. Third year, we won them all. They said we meant by a big score. So you aren't going to satisfy anybody. You better satisfy yourself. But let me tell you what happens when you're number one. People expect more from you. Second thing that happens, people study your strengths and emulate them. They study your weaknesses and they attack them. The third thing that happens, you want to be able to sit back and enjoy the success, and you can't. The fourth thing that happens, you begin to wonder, can I keep doing this? Or have I been lucky? That's why you have to have a faith and a belief in yourself. As I told you, everybody needs 4 things: something to do, someone to love, someone to believe in, something to hope for. How did we handle the controversy? I just have a simple philosophy. I don't think you help people by not teaching them how to make good choices. And it hurt me greatly to take 3 athletes and not allow them to play when we wouldn't have even had the bowl invite if it wasn't for them. It's not something I wanted to do, but they aren't going to be prepared for life unless they learn the decisions have consequences. And it's nothing easy. It's like when I was recruiting Jerome Bettis. Now, Jerome Bettis didn't want to come to Notre Dame, but this is going to answer your question how I feel. He wanted to go to Michigan because he thought I was too much of a disciplinarian. And I sat down with him, but Jerome wasn't going to make the decision. His mom was. Oh, I want to know who's going to make the decision what they want, and I'll show them how to get it better than anybody else can. And I said to Mrs. Bettis, she's going to make that. I said, let me tell you, it's like a guy got a puppy. 2 men got a puppy. The one guy loved the puppy so much, he let that puppy do anything he wanted. Everybody said, oh, how much he loves the puppy. The other guy gets a puppy. First thing he does, put a choke collar on the sucker. Every time the dog looked left or right, everybody said, oh, how mean and nasty. A year later, the guy takes the choke collar off the dog. The dog runs the neighborhood. Everybody loves it and enjoys it. Why? It knew what it could do, what it could not do. The guy allowed the puppy to do anything he wanted, could never give it any freedom. And I was branded as a racist. I was branded as somebody who didn't care. I would not tell the media what the thing was because I don't believe that was the player's intentions. But it's a difficult decision you have to make. You hate to make them, but your obligation is to prepare them for life. And hopefully, I know one of the young men is very successful in the car business now, wonderful young man. You don't take satisfaction in forcing people's decision like that. But as a leader, you got to make tough decisions. And that's all I've ever tried to do. Great question. Yes, sir. Why did I choose not to go for the record most wins at Notre Dame? That had a factor. I was 5 wins short of Newt Rockne's record of being the all-time record. There's some records that remain to be there. I was there 11 years. Eric Parsegian, Frank Leahy, Lou Holtz were all there 11 years. I had enough games to break it. If our place kicker hadn't missed an extra point, it would have been 3 games closer, but I just think there's some records that remain there. I hold Notre Dame in the highest regard. I've been part of 2 organizations that are better on the inside than they're perceived on the outside. One of them is Notre Dame, the other one's Augusta. I'm a member of Augusta. But Notre Dame is just such a special place. All right, we're going to be buried there. My wife and I are buried on campus. We already have the burial plots. They're beautiful plots. I mean, they overlook the golf course and the dome. Beautiful. Better view if you're sitting up, but nevertheless. Alumni buried me every Saturday, so why are we going to be buried there? That's the one place. 3 of our 4 children graduated from Notre Dame. That's the one place they will always go back to. One last question here, and I know you want to get out. Who has another question? That's be the last one. They made in Arkansas, they made a Lou doll in Arkansas. I don't remember exactly what I said, but there have been 2 books published on my quotes. When somebody asked me to autograph them, I write, the smartest thing I ever said was no comment. But things just come to me, and I just say whatever in my heart or whatever. If I'm going to have fun, I'm going to try to enjoy life. But, boy, you've been a great group, and I felt a little bad. Mark Workman has just done such a great job, and you people just do so many good things for your people, and you're unique in the fact that you're changing the way dentistry is done. I can't begin to tell you how important dentists have been in my life. When I was growing up, I was born in the Depression. And my dad gone to the 3rd grade. I was born in a cellar, not in a hospital. We had 1 bedroom for my sister, myself, and my parents. A kitchen, half bath for 7.5 years. There's no welfare, no safety net, nothing. And my parents taught me that we'll take care of you when you're young, you take care of us when we're old, and that's what we try to do. But the point I make on this is that I've been on top, I've been on bottom. It isn't what you have, it's basically who you have. But I also know that to fill a tooth was $5, to take one out was $3. And so usually they pulled the teeth when I was younger. Most of my teeth here are capped or things along that line. But I thank you people for the sacrifice you make, because you couldn't smile or do anything else if you don't have good face. I don't think there's anything more important than your appearance, than your teeth and how they present. So I congratulate you on the great success. As I said, I was a little awkward. I spoke to this group 11 years ago. I can change the stories. I can't change the philosophy. I had those 3 rules in. I still have them now. And those 3 questions in, I have them now. But I came here, and now I've got to go to Connecticut. I'm going to be catching an airplane. I want to promise you the airplane's easier to catch before it leaves the ground. But I leave you with this very last thought. Want to be happy for an hour? Eat a steak. Want to be happy for a day? Play golf. Want to be happy for a week? Go on a cruise. Now, to me, a cruise like being in jail, except you have a chance to drown, but whatever. Want to be happy for a month? Buy a new car. Want to be happy for a year? Win the lottery. Want to be happy for a lifetime? Help people get what they want. And remember this: if you didn't show up, who would miss you and why? If you ceased to practice, would your patients miss you and why? If you didn't go home, would anybody miss you and why? So, ladies and gentlemen, the only people we ever miss in this world are those that add value to other people. Just make sure you keep adding value to other people's lives So if you didn't show up, people would miss you. Thank you once again. Congratulations.
Lou Holtz, that was just awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Lou, wait, hold on, Lou, I want you to have this too. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thanks for everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.